successful ice sculpting business in sunny Brisbane for the past 27 years, thriving as an ice sculptor in the hot and humid Sunshine State. Hello, Mr. Parker. Thank you for joining us. When you originally started ice art back in the 90s, what was the ice sculpture industry like within Queensland and Australia?
There was no really industry in Australia at that time. There were a handful of ice carvers. They were nearly always in-house to the big hotels, the Hiltons and the Sheratons.
There wasn't anyone really that made ice in the way that we are making it today.
There were a couple of individuals that moved around amongst those people, but there was nowhere anywhere that they were producing serious ice carving ice. That was the issue.
In regard to starting from scratch, have there been any specific recurring issues during ice art's history?
Oh, well, one of the most common one is the lack of money, because it was when we didn't have many ice sculptures around, there weren't so many people that wanted to buy them. So
The main part is that there was no really industry before this, so
a lot of my early days was actually encouraging people to have an ice sculpture.
it hasn't started melting.
We decided to take it to the QT public and ask them, what do you think of ice sculptures in Brisbane?
I feel like they're going to melt. I feel like they're going to melt because of how stupidly hot the temperature is going to be.
I didn't know that was a job, to be honest. I thought that was for like very snowy countries. So I didn't know it existed here.
Well, I'm pretty surprised when I hear ice sculpture in Brisbane. Brisbane's pretty hot, even their ice sculpture will be melting really quick. But that would be really exciting if there is one in winter.
In midst of facing various conflicts and the unpredictability of transport, can you share a key driving force or personal mantra that keeps you motivated?
That's a hard question because transporting is the hardest part of what we do. The difficulty for me is getting in the place on time. A mantra that sort of kept me doing this business when everything was really difficult is that it is water. It is the fundamental thing that we all exist with. I was really fascinated by the idea of selling water to start with and selling water to people having a good time.
Throughout the decades of operating your business, did you ever feel a certain market pressure towards adapting to changing consumer needs?
I've never had that issue because there was no real market there. The market was what I did.
I've driven the market from my point of view.
So if I showed people I could do certain things, then that became the market. Over time, I moved through different things. An example might be weddings, birthdays, corporate logos, and ice sculptures, which again, there's a greater pressure because there's a lot more expectation.
Probably the last 4 to 5 years, there's been a big move towards using ice carving ice in bars and restaurants for drinks, as opposed to what we were doing carvings before.
So the markets have moved around as much as I've done them. They haven't really imposed themselves on me.
And over time now, people know what ice sculpture is about. There's a great more demand for them.
Well, thank you to Joe for the time you spent in this warehouse. Evidently, he's a man who knows what he's doing, even as an ice seller in the land of sunshine.